Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my channel? Thank you so much. My wife Mia was the city's top swimmer. When both her unforgettable first love, Alex, and I plunged into the water, she didn't think twice about rescuing him. After she hauled him to shore, Alex shot me a provocative look and said, "Sorry, Mia's too wiped to save you. You'll have to figure out how to get out on your own." I struggled in the water and Mia gave me a contemptuous glance. "You must have shoved Jake, otherwise, how did he end up in the water?" I ran out of strength and began to sink. Mia, on the other hand, freaked out. "Help! Help!" I yelled loudly, but Mia didn't even glance my way. She dove back into the water and swam straight to Jake as if I wasn't even there. "Jake, you okay?" I kept an eye on Mia, wanting to call for help, but the river water rushed into my mouth and nose, filling them instantly. The cold water engulfed me, and I watched helplessly as Mia saved Jake and brought him to shore. Alex looked at me challengingly. "Sorry, Mia's too tired to save you. You'll have to figure out how to get out on your own." I wanted to say something but could only stare in despair, unable to speak. Slowly, I sank until a swimmer spotted me and pulled me to shore. I coughed up water like a dying fish. Meanwhile, Mia was busy drying Jake's head with a towel, not even giving me a second glance. Only after she finished did she look down at me with disdain. "You must have pushed Jake, otherwise, how did he fall in? Don't you know Jake's scared of water? Why do you do something so messed up?" Jake stopped her. "It's cool, Mia. Don't be mad. I don't think Liam did it on purpose. It was just that I was too close to you and he felt uncomfortable. It's always like this," I muttered, sealing my fate with a few words. No matter what happened, Mia always sided with Jake's slander and provocations against me because he's her unforgettable first love from high school. "Liam, you're gross. You should have drowned just now. You're uncomfortable, so you want to kill someone. If I hadn't been here today, the consequences would have been unthinkable." Struggling underwater had drained all my energy. I couldn't even move my mouth to argue with her. The bystanders pointed at us like we were some kind of joke. I should have, as usual, defended myself the moment Alex slandered me. If Mia didn't believe me, I would have just bowed my head, admitted my fault, and apologized to both of them, taking the blame. But right then, in the throes of a desperate struggle, I realized that apart from life and death, nothing else mattered. Having already stepped one foot into the gates of hell, why should I care if she divorces me or fights with me? You two really are a perfect match. One dares to say it, and the other dares to believe it. I struggled to sit up and looked at them. Mia's face darkened immediately. "Liam, what do you mean? At this point, you still doubt our relationship? I've already told you we're just friends. Can't you stop causing drama? Think about it yourself." With that, Mia took Jake and headed back to the hotel. "Leave me alone by the river." In our 3 years of marriage, I'd often heard this line whenever I didn't go along with her wishes or couldn't stand her and Jake. She'd leave me with these words. I always went to her to apologize, thinking I was in the wrong. Looking back now, I realize I was the one who wasn't thinking straight. A wife who can disregard my life isn't worth keeping. The next day, after being soaked in the cold river water for too long, I came down with a high fever and stayed in the hotel all day. My fever was bad, and since I was new to the city and only here with Mia and Jake, there was no one to help me. After some thought, I tried calling Mia. As soon as the call connected, loud DJ music blasted into my ears. Clearly, Mia and Jake were at a club. When she saw my call, Mia's annoyed voice came through. "Liam, why are you calling? Don't you know we have our own stuff to do?" I kept my cool and spoke gently. "Mia, I'm sick. Could you please grab me some fever medicine and bring it here?" Before I could finish, the call was cut off. I was stunned, unwilling to believe Mia had hung up on me on purpose, so I called again. This time, her voice was even more impatient. "Liam, can you stop bothering me? I think you're faking being sick to mess with me, isn't it? Just because you don't want me to have fun with Jake." "Let me tell you, Liam, stop making a fuss. We came here for work and are just chilling a bit now, so don't cause trouble." A torrent of words flooded my brain, making my fevered mind even more muddled. It took a moment to process what she meant. Mia thought I was pretending to be sick. I collapsed back onto the bed, my consciousness fading. Just then, the phone rang again. I still held out hope it was Mia having a change of heart, but it was a college friend. "Liam, I saw your social media. You're in the city too, right? Want to grab dinner?" It took a moment to recognize Emma's voice. She was my best friend from college, but after graduation, we'd lost touch. With a hoarse voice, I replied, "Emma, could you buy me some fever medicine? I'll send you the address." In less than half an hour, Emma arrived at my room. I got up to open the door. Emma walked in and asked, "I thought your wife was here too. Why isn't she taking care of you?" I smiled bitterly. "She's out partying. We came to the city for a project Mia was working on. That's her job, and I didn't mind, but Jake decided to come too, saying he wanted to sightsee. I couldn't let him come alone with my wife, so I tagged along. But Mia hasn't been kind to me the entire trip. Not only did we not share a room, but she also kept ordering me around." Emma was speechless for a moment. After giving me the medicine, she went to the supermarket to buy fever patches. Unfortunately, on her way back, she ran into Mia and Jake. For convenience, I'd given Emma my room card, but Mia, seeing her, assumed she was a mistress. With a look of catching someone in the act, she kicked open the door and started arguing with Emma. "I've told you many times I'm Liam's college friend. Believe it or not, what's a college friend doing in Liam's room in the middle of the night? You're just a shameless mistress." Emma, always straightforward, was ready to confront her. "Emma, wait a sec." I stood at the door, holding onto the wall, my body swaying. "Mia, I told you I was sick. If you wouldn't buy me medicine, I had to ask my friend. What the heck is this?" Now I knew I must look really weak, so Mia didn't doubt I was genuinely sick. Her aggressive demeanor softened immediately. "Why didn't you explain earlier? If you'd made it clear, I would have come back sooner." Emma rolled her eyes, crossing her arms and looking at Mia. "Lady, weren't you busy partying with your lover? Even if he told you, would you have believed him?" Mia glared at her. "Who are you calling a lover?" "Liam, I told you that Jake and I are here for work. Are you going to spread rumors now?" I was so feverish I could barely stand. Emma noticed and quickly applied a fever patch to my forehead. Only then did I regain a bit of clarity. "Rumors? Mia, be honest. Did I say anything untrue? I just said you were out clubbing with another guy and didn't want to buy me medicine. Which part was a lie?" Mia was at a loss for words, giving Emma a death glare. "Why are you discussing our business with outsiders? This outsider just saved my life. And since you came back, have you shown any concern for my illness? All you do is argue." Mia fell silent, but Jake, who had been listening, stepped in. "Mia doesn't care about you. We came back within half an hour after your call, didn't we?" Emma glanced at the bags in their hands. "I've been to that club. It closes at 2 a.m. If it hadn't, you would have stayed all night, right?" Mia and Jake both fell silent. I looked at Emma. "Thanks a lot. Today it's late, and it's not safe for you to go back alone. I'll pay for a room here at the hotel for you, and you can leave tomorrow." Emma shook her head. "No need. My brother's coming to pick me up. Liam, take care of yourself and don't let some shady people take advantage of you." She glanced pointedly at Mia. Mia immediately got angry. "Who are you calling shady?" "Whoever's getting mad is who I'm calling shady." Seeing they were about to argue again, and with many neighbors peeking out to watch, I shouted, "Enough. Mia, aren't you embarrassed?" With that, I slammed the door, cutting off all sound. I was sick for 3 days, during which Mia and Jake went out alone every day to work, but I no longer cared. On the 4th day, once I had fully recovered, I decided to help Mia and Jake finish their project survey as soon as possible. The sooner we returned, the sooner I could deal with my issues with Mia. I needed to rethink our marriage. Who would have thought that upon reaching the equipment truck, I would overhear Mia and Jake talking? On a whim, I turned on the recorder, feeling I might capture something important. "What should we do?" "This equipment is busted," that was Mia's voice. "This stuff costs over $1 million. None of us can afford to replace it." There was a moment of silence, then Jake spoke. "I remember Liam's family has money, right?" "Yeah, his parents run a business." "What do you mean? Let's pin it on him." "No one will know." When they came out and saw me sitting on their temporary camping chair, they were all shocked. "Liam, when did you get here?" I curled my lips into a sneer and replied, "Just now." "Where did you guys go?" "I didn't see you." Mia's face showed a bit of discomfort, but Jake stayed calm. "Didn't you hear us talking earlier?" "No," I shook my head. Sure enough, both Mia and Jake breathed a sigh of relief. Then Jake gave Mia a meaningful look right in front of me, but I saw it all and watched them pretend with amusement. Mia walked over to me and gently asked if I was feeling better. I inwardly laughed at their foolishness, unable to hide their actions, but I still nodded, feeling much better. She then asked about my well-being for a while before finally getting to the point. "Honey, Jake and I have been working all morning. How about you help us with one of the machines so we can take a break?" I agreed easily. "Sure, where's the machine?" Mia's eyes lit up as she pointed to a black van not far away. "It's in the back seat, the blue equipment." I walked over, catching a glimpse of Mia and Jake high-fiving out of the corner of my eye. I pretended not to see and opened the car door, looking around for a while. Honey, I can't find the equipment. Where is it? Isn't it right on that seat? I pretended to search some more. Still can't see it. Where exactly is it? Mia's tone grew impatient. Isn't it right there? How can you not see it? I quickly nodded. Oh, here it is, but honey, I can't move it alone. Can you ask Jake to help me? She blurted out. Why are you so useless? Jake could move it by himself. Realizing what she was saying, she quickly corrected herself. Okay, I'll get him. I watched as Mia went over and said something to Jake, and they both glanced meaningfully in my direction. I knew they were up to something again. Jake came over, casually belittling me. I've heard you've been working out for years. What was it, just hormone injections? You can't even lift a small piece of equipment. I've been sick and my strength hasn't recovered. I didn't argue and followed Jake to lift the equipment together. There was a cunning glint in his eyes, clearly scheming something. I held the equipment steadily. I could easily carry 2 of these by myself. After all, I usually lift weights 2 to 3 times heavier at the gym, but I couldn't reveal that. Sure enough, after a few steps, Jake suddenly exclaimed, Liam, hold this for a moment. I need to tie my shoelace. Without waiting for a response, he let go of the equipment. I quickly said, Jake, hurry up. I can't hold this for long. The more I urged him, the slower he moved, telling me not to worry. I pretended to struggle, calling out several more times. Jake, seeing I still hadn't dropped it, couldn't stall tying his shoelace any longer and reluctantly got up. I then said, I need to tie my shoelace too, Jake. You hold it. With that, I let go and crouched down. Jake, having crouched for a while, suddenly stood up and felt momentarily dizzy. Thinking he could handle it, he didn't pay much attention. In that moment of inattention, the equipment slipped from his hands and crashed straight to the ground. The casing immediately shattered, and the main body of the device was full of cracks, rendering it unusable. This sudden turn of events shocked everyone. Mia, from a distance, thought she had succeeded and hurried over, saying, Liam, this is $1 million device. Since you broke it, you should pay for it. I innocently pointed at Jake. It wasn't me. Jake, clearly stunned, instinctively retorted, No, it was you who let go first. I told you I needed to tie my shoelace, and you nodded. Mia hadn't expected things to go this way and couldn't help but defend Jake. Couldn't you wait until Jake had a better grip before letting go? But Jake did the same thing just now. He said he needed to tie his shoelace and suddenly let go without warning. If I hadn't held it steady, the one in trouble might have been me. Jake, finally realizing, looked at me with red eyes. Liam, you did it on purpose. You pretended you couldn't hold it just to frame me. Why would I frame you? Are you suggesting that the machine was already broken and I schemed to make you take the blame? I said in surprise. That would be unbelievably cruel of me. Mia and Jake's faces alternated between green and white. They opened their mouths wanting to say something but found no reasonable argument. I don't care. Even if the machine is broken, you still bear some responsibility. If there's compensation, we should share it. I quickly pointed to the nanny car behind us. No way. The dash cam captured everything clearly. I let go with your consent. Although the audio isn't clear, your nodding is visible. Shall we check the footage? After I said this, Jake's face turned ashen. Heck, I can't afford $1 million. I continued, Mia, even if we take a step back, don't you bear any responsibility? What responsibility? Even if I take 10,000 steps back, I have no responsibility. Seeing she couldn't argue with me, Mia glared at me and hurried to comfort the squatting Jake. All right, you two think about how to compensate. I've got stuff to do and need to go. Leaving them with this, I turned and drove straight to the city bank. After verifying my identity, I was led into the VIP room. I wasn't there to withdraw money for Jake. On the contrary, I was there to stop that from happening. Mr. Lee, what can I do for you today? I want to cancel a supplementary card under my name. After getting married, I had given Mia a supplementary card. I transferred all my company dividends to that card and told her to spend as she pleased. Knowing Mia, she'd surely use my card to pay Jake's compensation. I had to cut off this possibility in advance. Certainly, your membership level is quite high, so we can process this immediately. After canceling the supplementary card, I returned to Beijing before Mia and Jake realized what had happened. Happened after the 5-hour flight landed as expected. My phone was flooded with calls, all from Mia. I slowly called back and a hysterical voice immediately came through. Liam, did you cancel my card? Yes, is there a problem? Why did you cancel the card? Didn't you say it was for me to use? Besides, that's our marital property. Do you even have the right to cancel it? Listening to her anxious and unsettled voice, I chuckled. I have my reasons for canceling the card. Do I need to report to you on that? Unlock the supplementary card immediately. I need to use it now. Mia's voice was commanding. Sorry, that's not happening, I replied lightly, clearly trying to piss her off. Liam, where are you now? I just went to your room and couldn't find you. Are you hiding? I pretended to remember and replied, Oh, I forgot to tell you, I went back to Beijing. Why did you go back? You were dissatisfied with me being there, right? I thought about it, and since Jake is in such a mess, I decided not to add to his troubles. Mia cursed me viciously on the other end, but I acted as if I didn't hear it. I even pretended to yawn. Oh, and by the way, come back soon. Let's get a divorce. I dropped this bombshell and casually hung up the phone. After returning, I went to the company first. I instructed the receptionist and the security team to ensure Mia wasn't allowed in. If she caused trouble, they should call the police directly. Then I went back to our downtown home and had the locks changed. I packed my bags and booked a month-long trip to Europe. I went to my parents' house and took them along for the trip. Happily, I set off on my vacation. I had already arranged for a professional agent to handle my business affairs. I got a new phone number for them to contact me if needed. I pulled out my old phone number and tucked it away in my wallet, out of sight, out of mind. Since marrying Mia, I had rarely felt so relaxed. She often pushed me to work hard, constantly belittling me, saying I couldn't give her a happy life. Fearing such things might happen, I worked like crazy. As the boss, I arrived at work earlier than everyone and left later than anyone. For the past 3 years, my nerves had been stretched tight. Never relaxing, breathing in the moist air of an unfamiliar European town, I felt my body and mind unwinding. Looking back, I couldn't believe how I had survived those days. After a comfortable month-long trip with my parents, I boarded the plane back home. My parents seemed to sense there were problems in my marriage with Mia, hence the vacation, but no one dared to ask, fearing it would upset me. I had once loved Mia so much to the point where I wouldn't marry anyone but her in this lifetime. I didn't explain to my parents. They were old and getting upset wasn't good for them. I decided to handle my problems on my own. After returning home, I reinserted the phone card that had been dormant for a month. As expected, as soon as I inserted it, a flood of calls and messages poured in. In fact, Mia had bombarded my social media accounts. I had blocked her everywhere, which gave me some peace. I didn't even bother to read the hundreds of messages. I just called Mia. When are we getting a divorce? On the other end was Mia's hysterical voice. Liam, where have you been this month? Do you know Jake took out a high-interest loan to pay the compensation and is now being chased by creditors? How can you be so heartless? Such good news. Unfortunately, I was so out of touch while abroad that I didn't know about it in time. I reached out to a mutual friend to get the full story of the past month. After I canceled Mia's supplementary card and left for abroad, Jake went a bit crazy, shouting at Mia. Didn't you say you could pay for me? What now? I can't pay it back. Mia, with her good temper, even tried to soothe him. It's okay, I'll go to Beijing and ask Liam for money face to face. But when she got to my house, she found out that not only had I left the country, but I had also changed the locks. Helpless, Mia went to my company, but no matter how much of a scene she caused, the receptionist never let her in. She then planned to appeal to my parents for sympathy, only to discover that I had taken them away as well. This completely broke her. She had a small stash of around 300,000 and borrowed more from various people, but my friends not only refused to lend her money, they also scolded her. She tried borrowing from her colleagues and managed to scrape together only about 100,000, still 600,000 short. The lab that owned the damaged equipment was urging Jake to pay up, so he gritted his teeth and borrowed 600,000 from local loan sharks, agreeing to repay 700,000 within a month. Who knows where he got the confidence to think he could repay the money? Maybe he thought with Mia he could still extract money from me. A month passed and debt collectors caused a ruckus at Jake's company, resulting in him losing his job. He hid elsewhere but was found and beaten by the collectors, ending up in the hospital. The loan sharks called everyone around Jake incessantly. Now he was abandoned by everyone except Mia, who still stayed by his side in the hospital. My friend told me this vivid story, and I couldn't help but laugh. He advised that the most important thing now is to divorce Mia, but I doubt it will be easy. I reassured him. Don't worry, I have evidence. If Mia agrees to the divorce amicably, that's fine. But if she causes trouble and takes it to court, it won't just be a simple divorce. Sure enough, as soon as Mia heard I was back in the country, she rushed to find me. She looked pretty haggard from taking care of someone and walked briskly towards me. Liam, where have you been this past month? Do you know how hard it's been for us here? I replied emotionlessly. I know, so what does that have to do with me? I'm still your husband. Is there a problem with me wanting to use our joint marital property? I watched her rage and said, didn't you receive my divorce agreement? You'll leave with nothing. I sneered and played an audio recording from my phone. It's not just about cheating. I have reason to believe that you married me with ulterior motives. You're talking nonsense. Mia had been angrily cursing me but quickly fell silent as she heard the voices from the phone. What do we do? This equipment is broken. It was Mia's voice. This equipment costs over $1 million. If we break it, neither of us can afford to pay. The clear voices of the two filled the room. Mia muttered in disbelief. You knew everything. So what if I knew? Mia's eyes suddenly flashed with malice as she glared at me. So you deliberately called Jake over to help you move the equipment just to frame him? I frowned at her wording. Wrong. Jake tried to frame me but ended up harming himself. Mia, I'm the victim here. I only avoided your trap. Everything you and Jake are facing now is what you deserve. And let me tell you, if you don't agree to the divorce, I'll submit this recording to the police. You and Jake might end up in prison. Hearing my last words, Mia finally showed fear, lowering her once proud head. Liam, you're something else. Doesn't 3 years of marriage make you feel any pity? For people like you, it's not worth it, I replied coldly, watching Mia sign the divorce agreement. I immediately sent it to my lawyer and scheduled the formalities for a month later. There's a 1-month cooling-off period for divorces now, but I won't regret it. That incident made me see Mia's true nature and realize that my 3 years of feelings weren't worth it. That's why I could walk away so firmly. Otherwise, I would still be trapped in Mia's manipulations, unable to break free. A few days later was a class reunion which I attended. My classmates knew about my divorce and didn't try to persuade me otherwise. Only Emma patted my shoulder. That day at the hotel, I wanted to advise you to get a divorce, but thinking about how you were in college chasing Mia like crazy, I was afraid you'd regret it after recovering, so I didn't say anything. I laughed. Back in college, I was bad at judging people. I would just throw myself at anyone I fancied. I replied awkwardly. Emma, I just got out of a marriage. I don't want to jump into another one. She raised her hand to stop me, not the least bit embarrassed. Who's asking you to agree now? There's plenty of time in the future. She gave me a bright smile and I smiled back. Indeed, there's plenty of time in the future. A month later, the day Mia and I had scheduled to finalize the divorce arrived. Mia seemed to have dressed up carefully. I couldn't tell if it was to celebrate the divorce or to make me regret it, but no matter how beautiful she looked, I couldn't care less. Let's go get the formalities done. Wait, Liam. You know once we go in, there's no turning back. I nodded indifferently. What was there to regret? Seeing my attitude, Mia bit her lip and stepped closer, but I pushed her away. Don't you want to give our marriage another chance? I quickly pushed her away. Ouch made me feel disgusted. Mia, we both know the truth. Even if we go back there, there will always be a rift between us. Whether you cheated or not, you've already crossed my bottom line. We are never going back. After I finished speaking, Mia seemed to finally give up, her face turning cold. Liam, you're really something. What I didn't see was her signaling to someone behind a nearby car. Mia and I entered the Civil Affairs Bureau together. Reflecting on the last time I came here, I was so excited and full of anticipation for married life. But now, looking back, that kind of life only existed in my memory because I married Mia, so it could never happen. The procedures were completed faster than I expected. I breathed a sigh of relief as I held the divorce certificate. It was all over. Perhaps seeing my relaxation, Mia's face turned extremely ugly. What, divorcing me makes you so happy? I laughed twice. Sorry you noticed. Since you noticed, I won't pretend anymore. After leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau, I walked to my car, ready to open the door, but Mia suddenly approached me. Even though we're divorced, it was a peaceful divorce. Why not give me a ride? I didn't even look at her. Sorry, it's inconvenient. I have to pick someone up later. Emma had just come to Beijing for a business trip and had arranged to have dinner with me. I was busy replying to her. Mia glanced at my phone, her tone angry. Chatting with a woman, huh? I can't believe you found someone else right after our divorce. Trying to guilt-trip me again, I sneered and retorted. Better than you finding someone before the divorce. I was chatting with Emma and didn't notice when Mia disappeared. Suddenly, Jake's voice came from behind me. Liam, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be in this situation. It's all your fault. Let's go to hell together. I didn't have time to react. Looking up, I saw Jake rushing at me with a gleaming knife. I dodged the fatal spot, but the knife still stabbed into my chest. All the strength in my body seemed to drain away, leaving me empty. I watched as blood spurted out. There were few people on this road at this time. Jake, realizing what he had done, turned and ran. The Civil Affairs Bureau staff came out and saw me lying in a pool of blood. They screamed and quickly called an ambulance. As I was being lifted into the ambulance, I was barely conscious, grabbing a doctor's hand and shouting, "The culprit is Jake, and Mia is an accomplice." I don't know if the doctor heard me as I passed out. When I woke up, I was already in the hospital. My chest hurt terribly, and even the slightest movement felt like it was tearing. I had no choice but to move my eyes and saw Emma sleeping beside me, holding my hand. I gently moved my fingers and Emma immediately woke up, pleasantly surprised. "You're awake. I'll call the doctor." Emma brought the doctor, who gave a brief explanation of my condition. Jake had aimed for my heart, but luckily I dodged a bit, so the stab wound wasn't fatal. However, I had lost a lot of blood and was very weak with the wound just treated. I couldn't move for a while and had to stay in bed. But what I wanted to know wasn't this. It was whether Jake and Mia had been caught. After the ambulance arrived, the Civil Affairs Bureau employee called the police and followed me to the hospital. Since I was unconscious, the doctor relayed my pre-ambulance statement to the police with surveillance footage from the scene. Mia and Jake were quickly identified. Mia was arrested that day, but Jake was nowhere to be found. The police found evidence of Mia conspiring to harm me on her phone, proving her complicity. Now the police were conducting a citywide search for Jake. I nodded to show my understanding. I never expected Jake would actually dare to stab me in public. It seemed he was ready to risk everything. Reflecting on it, I was relieved I had dodged the critical spot. Otherwise, if Jake had succeeded, it would have been a terrible loss. Mia's parents came to the hospital with fruit to plead with me. Even though I'd been their son-in-law for 3 years, I still remembered how they had tried to exploit me for money. Mia's mother sat by my bed and glanced at Emma, who was peeling an apple. "Could the nurse step out? We have something to say." "Auntie, you can speak freely. This is my girlfriend." Emma's eyes lit up as she looked at me. I nodded at her while Mia's mother looked displeased. "You found a girlfriend right after divorcing Mia? Were you seeing her before the divorce?" "Stop. I don't need to explain my fidelity to you. But Mia conspiring to murder me isn't exactly irrelevant." Mia's mother looked embarrassed. "I'm here to persuade you. After all, you and Mia were married for 3 years. Can't you let this go over a minor issue?" "Minor issue?" I frowned. I was stabbed and almost died. As a parent, how would you feel if someone did this to Mia? Mia's mother stubbornly said. "But you didn't die, did you?" Looking at her face, which resembled Mia's, I felt nothing but disgust. "Rest assured, if I had died, your daughter wouldn't be alive either. Attempted murder carries the death penalty. Maybe Mia was misled by that Jake. You know she's not like that." Hearing the same old excuse, I grew impatient. Emma seemed to have had enough. Standing up, she said, "The patient needs rest. If you have nothing else, please leave, or I'll call security." "You little girl." Before they could say more, Emma pushed them all out, leaving the room quiet. She sat back down and asked me, "Were you serious just now?" I pretended not to understand. "About what?" "About me being your girlfriend." I covered myself with the blanket. I don't say things lightly. Whatever I say reflects what I'm truly thinking. A week later, Jake was caught on a boat trying to smuggle himself out of the country. He had planned to escape abroad but was caught during a crackdown on smuggling. In court, Jake and Mia pointed fingers at each other, each claiming the other was the mastermind and that they were the victim. Ultimately, the evidence showed that the The idea to harm me originated with Jake. With solid proof, the court sentenced Jake to life imprisonment for attempted murder. Mia, as an accomplice, was sentenced to 10 years. Mia's parents spent all their money and pulled every string they could to reduce her sentence, but to no avail. They all received the punishment they deserved.